Greetings, fellow Capsuleers. Welcome back to the Nth Dimension, the most clandestine corner of the EVE Online universe, where we unravel the secrets that can change your game. I'm Nth, and today, in episode 3, we're diving deep into the shadows to reveal 5 mind-blowing, game-altering secrets that perhaps you have never known about. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Now, on to number 1. So, for this first one, we're going to be talking about everyone's new favorite lovable updated launcher. So they didn't really tell us anything about this, so you just kind of dive in and start exploring stuff, but I figured, why do it yourself when I could tell you all the good stuff? This is what I have figured out so far about the launcher. Yes, you got your accounts, and then you can go into, right here, account settings, and you can select client profile. What does this mean, though? So client profile is what your overviews look like, where all your windows are positioned. A lot of people probably just one default is fine, but perhaps you could have a profile that is for PvP hunting, or one that is for mining or trading or whatnot, and you want your windows set up all differently for that. So you can just make new ones if you want here, or you could just go with default. There's the manage launch groups. We'll talk about launch groups in a second in a later different part. The launch settings, this is what tripped up a lot of people, and it's kind of important. So this dictates when you click on your character, where does it actually launch? The default will be yes or no. We'll talk about that in a second. But you can say, where do you want to launch directly to the character selection screen or directly into the character? I know a lot of people were asking about that. So let's go ahead, and there is also account specific settings, which is right here, and then there's launcher settings. So if you go on the top right, there's the cog up here, and you can do a bunch of different things. Just closed system tray, hardware acceleration, high DPI, a lot of normal stuff there. What's interesting here is the quick launch, and I actually quite like this. I have mine set up to where if I hit the play button, that's right here, it will launch into the character selection screen, but I can also click and hold like this, and if I complete that, then it will launch directly into that character. And that's what this quick launch does. You can also change it to control click or just disable it. Then we go into the game client settings. If you have DirectX 12, you should probably switch to DirectX 12. There's also the DirectX 11, which I believe is the default. You can download the full EVE game client. I think this just helps with if you're going to different areas of space, you don't have to download that stuff as you go into it. The tools and cache, there's a lot of cool stuff here. You can move your game directory file. I actually did this because I was moving my hard drive to a different hard drive. So that was helpful. Just a lot of helpful debugging stuff there. There's the launch groups. Now this is actually going to probably be useful for a lot of people. It was in the previous launcher. They've also put it in here, but it's launch groups now. And this lets you make a launch group, and then you can specify what account you want to launch, what character you want it to launch in, and what profile you want it to launch in. So I have one that's just all, when I'm accepting all of my daily login bonuses, I'll just use the launch group all. It logs all of my people into the character select screen because I find it's easier to get the stuff there. And then I also have a launch group of the core 4, which is my 4 main accounts, and they'll log in directly to their characters, except for this one, which I might want to have different characters there. And those are the account-wide settings. And if you have launch groups, they'll show up down here, and you got all your launchy stuff here. And then lastly, this is pretty cool, so pay attention. If you resize your window, things will adjust in cool ways. And if you do it all the way, you get this really awesome compact launchers mode. You can click and hold there to launch this, or you can use your launch groups, or you can just do the play now, and that'll launch to the character select screen. I actually like this new launcher. I think it's got a lot of cool groundwork, and I'm excited to see how they continue expanding on it. That was a bit of a long number 1. Let's dive right into number 2. For this next trick, did you know that you are invulnerable for a short period of time after you exit warp? This lets you kind of load grid, get your bearings of the surroundings, and decide how you want to engage. They recently added a session change timer, about 30 seconds when you undock from the station. But there is also that invulnerability time when you warp. So to showcase this, we're going to go ahead and warp this character over, and we're going to lock him with this other character. I know the screens look a little bit weird, but this bottom right hand corner is locking. and the top left is the ship that is warping. And you should see that we land, exit warp, and have a little few seconds before this other character can lock him. So we're just gonna try and lock him as quick as we can. Still invulnerable, still invulnerable. He's out of warp, still invulnerable. It's probably like 5-10 seconds. Still invulnerable. It's actually longer than I thought. There we go. Seems like about 10 seconds. So hopefully this helps. You do have a bit of time if you don't hit any buttons. If you do hit buttons, it will cancel that invulnerability time. But as long as you just land, you just get idea of your surroundings. You can like click on people and information and whatnot. You just can't like move your ship at all. So yeah, hopefully that helps. On to number 3. This third tip is a nice and simple one, and it involves contracting. So do you ever want to contract something when you're far away? Say I'm in a wormhole and I want to contract something from Jita. But I don't want to do all 12 of them. How do I efficiently do this in less? So you can go ahead and create contract. Let's go ahead and make it out to Pilgrim 1. What a lovely person. You hit next, you select a person, and here, this will give all 12 of them. And also imagine that I have a long list, and so I can right-click this item, and I can split its stack. However, if I say 4, what's going to happen is that the 8 is still selected, and the 4 goes away. And so then you have to like search through all your stuff and find the other 4. So what I like to do instead is just put it in reverse. I know, crazy concept. So let's say I wanted to contract 3 out of these 8. I would instead put 5 here, because then that will keep check marked 3, the one that I actually want to contract, and put 5 away in the other place. And then you can just finish up your contract, no big deal. Nice and simple, easy, sweet. On to number 4. This next tip is another short and sweet one, but if you don't know it, it's good to know it now because it really might come and save your ass one day. What is the tip? Well, it's Capacitor and Shield Recharge are using a strange formula, and the crux of this is that you get the most Capacitor Recharge and Shield Recharge when you're at 25% of your max value. But if you go lower than that or higher than that, you're going to be getting less and less. So we've gone to the Eve Uni page on Shields. Shoutouts to Eve Uni, great site. And you can see that that actual formula is this. I know it's a lot, don't worry too much about it. You don't need to do any math here. What it makes though is this chart. And as you can kind of see, as your shield HP is at a higher percentage or a lower percentage, and this is the amount of recharge rate you're getting. At 25%, it's at its max. If you go lower than that, it's going to be hard to come back. So if you're like in a shield recharge fit, like a buffer fit Gila in Abyssals, you want to make sure that you don't really go below this, because then it's going to be hard to come back from this. On the flip side of the coin, if you are fresh full 100% shields and you see that you're losing health, don't worry too much, because as you lose that health, you're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger until this 25% mark. So hopefully that helps, and don't freak out if your capacitor or shields are going down. This is the formula that describes how that does it, and just remember that as long as you're like, I like to shoot for like 30%. As long as you're 30% of each of those values, you're still doing just fine, still tanking just good. All right, on to the last, number 5. This one's less a hidden feature of Eve and more like a forgotten feature of Eve, because I've seen it been forgotten by other people. And what it is you can find where anomalies or combat sites are systems away without having to actually go to those systems. So say I'm a nullsec explorer, I'm off in some strange area in nullsec, and I just want to find a bunch of cosmic signatures. I could just chart a path and kind of like hit every system, or I could use this handy dandy agency window. So you go to the agency window, and then you're going to go to exploration. And in this, you have combat anomalies. So if you're like a DET hunter, if you're looking for all those combat anomalies to then escalate into DETs, you can see like, oh, this is 3 anomalies in system, it's 1 jump away, or there's like not a whole lot here. There's 3 anomalies here, 3 jumps away. So that can kind of help you guide your path And just the same, there is also the cosmic signatures. Does the same thing, but lets you know the cosmic signatures. You can search for any distance, so if you don't want to like see crazy stuff, you can also make sure you stay in like nullsec if you like nullsec exploring, right? Yeah, so easy peasy. And if you didn't know about this, there's also a whole lot of cool stuff in the agency that will help you find what you're looking for. And then lastly, as a little bonus tip, you can go into one of these things like cosmic signatures, and if you use it a lot, just add bookmark. It's very useful. I personally even don't use this as much as I should, but like you can just add bookmarks here and quickly get to the pages that you like to use. All right, well that's all the tips for episode 3. Hopefully you guys learned something new. Can't wait to see you on the next one. Until then, bye!